что мы этого долго ждали. Давайте, чтобы нам ничего не мешало.
Welcome back everyone to the Torchlight Infinite VORAX season preview. I'm Andre, your community manager. This is shaping up to be one of the most extensive previews we've ever done. We're rolling out a new system,
Мужественно выглядит
new
теперь.
hero, a brand new crafting system, to rework hero traits, many overhauled damage systems, reworked legendaries, major updates to defensive options, a major UI overhaul, and tons
Нормальный
more.
звук, кстати.
Today, there's gonna be a lot to cover. Let's get to it.
Погнали. Начинаем с трейлера самого этого. Да, у нас же, как обычно, типа 50к стримеру донаты и старт в чулочках. Все нормально. Постоянно, бля, серьезно. А на ютубе же тоже, да, есть. Заплатил. Но мы на всякий случай продублируем на ютубе себе, если начнется еще раз. В последнее время что-то реально интернет голову греет. Как же вот просто чуваки не стесняются все воровать из дума. Но как бы ноль осуждения, 100% понимания. Как обычно, убиваем мужиков, с них собираем шприцы, потом продаем их на рынке. Надеемся, что они не спидосные.
Represent different monster families. Your goal here is to juice these tanks to manipulate their stats, quantity, rarity, and most importantly, activity.
Ну, как все и говорили, метаморф.
Surgical instruments and potions to modify these mobs. You can fuse them, mutate them.
Видимо, собирается не за одну мапу.
It all comes down to one stat: ultimate activity. The higher the total activity across your tanks, the better the loot drops are when you fight the corresponding monsters. Different monsters have different mechanics you can exploit. For example, the Agito rely on awakened mechanics. By using items related to neural functions, you can scale their difficulty and rewards based on intelligence.
С текстом, да.
The pests specialize in reproduction, otherwise known as pack density. If you want a screen filled with hundreds of mobs for massive kill count bonuses, focus on the past. To really push the limits, look out for incubation elixirs. These are race-specific power-ups. For example, the hollow cocoon for the past race triggers a chain reaction, granting a sequence of potions that grow stronger each round and eventually spike.
Блин, как много надо будет читать в начале, в первые дни.
Has its own unique god roll sequence to chase. The third phase is a surgery. You've prepped your tanks. Now it's time to fight your creations. This is a combat encounter where you enter an arena and face off against the custom monstrosities you just built. As you defeat them, you feel antidote vials that...
Самое главное, интересно, можно ли там дохнуть будет или нет.
The more you fill the vial, the better the payout. And a quick warning, keep an ear out for this sound. That signals a scavenger. He's a rare invader. He's fast, tanky, and he hits hard. He can interrupt your run, but if you take him down,
это новая юга, да?
Do not let him escape. For the players who want to push their builds to the limit, we're adding scalpels. These are netherrealm enhancers that don't take up your standard compass.
Мне нравится.
For example, the titanium alloy scalpel. It cranks up the difficulty by attracting more scavengers and elites, but it drives the reward scaling through the roof.
Мне такое больше нравится. Ну, типа, по сравнению с тем, что сейчас...
Alright, let's talk about the new crafting system. We call it grafting. It's the most flexible crafting system we've ever added. it lets you combine stats that usually can't exist on the same item.
Ну вот иконки шмота,
For the
конечно,
VORAX mechanic,
интересные.
you'll find VORAX limbs. These are your crafting
Он
bases.
на ладвашный
They
похож
come with
максимально.
unique implicit stats that are totally different from normal gear drops. Once you have a base, you use items like organs to add affixes. Now here's the first big change. VORAX gear ignores attribute pools. For example, you can roll energy shield on dexterity gear. On top of that, certain VORAX gear slots share the same affix pool when adding ultimate affixes, giving you far more freedom to mix and match stats that usually don't go together. Wanna be unkillable? We've grafted armor, evasion, and energy shield all onto a single chest armor.
Да, давайте проебем все префиксы, забьем их вот этой всей бесхуйней. Хотя ладно, да.
You're a walking fortress. But the real star of this season, legendary grafting.
Как будто 100% это жестко, да.
Break it down and extract its unique power. We call this the core organ. Then you can graft that legendary power onto your VORAX rare gear. There are basically two rules. One, you can have up to 2 legendary mods on a single piece of gear. 2, there are no slot restrictions. Now let me give you some examples of how this changes build making.
Легендарные моды крафтить
Let's
на
take a
шмотках.
life-consume build. Crimson King is essential for damage, but everyone wants that massive max life bonus usually found on Martyr staff. Now normally you have to choose between damage and survivability. But now in grafting, we can rip out that max life mod straight out of the armor and put it right into your weapon. Now you merge the lethality of Crimson King with the tankiness of Martyr Staff in a single build. Keep the damage, gain the life, and solve the tankiness problem.
Ну вот, с другой стороны, когда смотришь на вот
Now
такой
let's look at
геймплей,
Whirlwind build.
как-то сразу не хочется играть на кастере.
But with grafting, you can take the mobility charge from the Elegy of Immortality and put it on your helmet. Now, your movement skills refresh constantly while you spin. Need hotbar space, trigger Bull's Rage from Frozen Flame, or Frost Shield from Burning Eyes on belts or boots. Easily auto-casting buffs with no ring tags. And attack builds get really crazy because they are no longer locked onto one pair of legendary gloves. When I play a build that runs Death's Touch, Ghost Slaughter, and Stray Birds Return, well, now you can. Once you have your gear crafted, there is one final step for the brave. You can take your VORAX gear to the blacksmith for VORAX corrosion. This is a big gamble. If you hit the right outcome, you can upgrade your affixes. Legendary mods can hit tier 0, and normal grafted mods can even go higher, hitting tier 0+.
Ну это не здорово, да, уже. Это прям очень хорошо будет. Это очень круто, что все легендарки теперь будут стоить денег на протяжении всей лиги. Ну, типа, там условно Т2, Т1. Потому что их надо будет разбирать, чтобы крафтить. Ладно, это мы уже видели, кошечку. Сейчас вариативность билдов будет просто зависеть от того, что вы придумаете. Очень много крутых штук вылезет наверняка. Зачем им глаза? Ну тогда же один, если. Даже если одну шмотку такую можно нацепить, это будет очень круто.
Cat-Eye Erica is getting a brand new hero trait, Vendetta Sting. This is a darker version of Erica who was captured and held as a showpiece by Imperial nobles. Now, she's escaped, reclaimed her claws, and is out for revenge. This trait is built entirely around two things, proximity and speed. This is a high risk.
Бля, какой же она пизды будет на дипе получать?
The closer you are to your enemy, the more damage you deal. To help you stay in close range, she has some of the best mobility in-game. But here's the cool part. You don't just use mobility to move, you use it to kill. As you unlock her traits, her movement skills will automatically trigger your main attack skills. That means you don't need to stop moving to swing your weapon. Just dash through the pack and the attacks happen automatically.
Такая нахуй
Creates
вообще,
this
конечно,
incredibly fast,
жара.
fluid playstyle where you're constantly zipping between enemies, dealing
Хорошо
burst damage
переделали.
without ever standing still. Now we realized during testing that this playstyle is kind of, intense. Because she moves so fast, the camera effects can be a bit disorienting for some players. So we added a new quality of life feature specifically for this trait. You can go
вот
into
чтоб
battle
генери.
settings and toggle the camera slow motion effect. If the high-speed visuals are making you dizzy, just turn that on and you have a stable, clear view of the action.
Так это у тебя же, Генри, мумент, а ты сам ее направляешь. Ну, типа, назад нажал, назад блинканулся.
Vendetta Sting is the trait for you. Now, if melee isn't really your style, spellcasters are getting a brand new mechanic called Tangle. Usually, playing a spellcaster means spamming a button or relying on
бренды.
Tangle works differently. Think of it as a parasite mechanic. Instead of casting the spell at the enemy, you plant the spell inside them. Once the tangle is attached, it effectively auto-casts a spell on that target over and over again for the entire duration. You tag them and the damage keeps rolling.
Не, бренд
And the
крутой
best part,
тоже
it
будет.
spreads. When your
Более
target
если он
dies,
spreads.
the tangle doesn't disappear. It jumps to the next nearest enemy and keeps working. Let's look at
Только
how this changes some classic skills.
интересно, какой
Chromatic shot
рейндж
usually
будет.
requires good positioning to hit all your projectiles. With the tangle variant, it locks on.
Ну там не то, что бренд рекол, а типа расстояние, которое
Ice
между
Lance
этими
basically
будет.
turns the enemy into
Ну,
an
как они
automatic
будут
frost
между
turret.
собой.
It's like a machine gun that fires itself. Chain lightning. If you stick tangles on a group of enemies, each tangle triggers its own chain lightning. The bolts bounce back and forth between the targets. It absolutely melts high-density packs. To scale tangle, focus on two stats. First, tangle quantity. This lets you infect more enemies at once. Second, tangle stack limit. This lets you stack more tangles on a single target, crucial for single target boss damage. Keep an eye out for new legendaries, such as Old Grudge. This necklace boosts tangle quantity and duration.
Ну типа, тангл quantity просто +1 берешь, у тебя x2 становится дамаг. +2 интагет максимум quantity.
For melee players, we're expanding the combo skill system with new moves and new scaling options. Gale Slash focuses on mobility. The opener is a two-stage dash that cuts through enemies, followed by a leap attack finisher for heavy damage.
Ну да, такое ощущение, что
Slotting
они
the noble
ускорили
support
просто.
soaring greatly extends the travel distance, letting you leap across large portions of the screen. Spectral Slash opens with a wide sweep that marks enemies. Its finisher summons up to 5 clones that look to mark targets. Two new supports change how it plays.
Ладно,
The
этот
Legion
хуёво
support
выглядит.
doubles clone count based on nearby enemies for faster clear. The Synchrony support lines clones behind you, slamming in unison to create a focused shockwave. To tie it all together, we're adding Shockwave Warcry, a skill build for combo setups. It taunts nearby enemies and scales finisher damage based on how many are affected. Each successful finisher stacks bonus damage and area of effect, rewarding players who keep the combo going. To support all these new builds, we're adding a batch of new legendaries. Here are a few of the highlights. First is a chest armor called Silent Avowal. This is one for the block-based tanks. Its main gimmick is that it reverses your block chance and block ratio. It forces you to balance your stats carefully. When attack and spell block chance are the same, it will provide a high block ratio. If they are unequal, the higher value gets the lucky property, meaning the game rolls twice and gives you the better result. On top of that, It scales your damage
Что-то
and reduces incoming damage over
залупа
time
какая-то.
based on how high your block stats are. If you want to build a beefy blocker, then this is your chest armor. Next, we have another chest piece called Futile Trade-off. This is designed for the min-maxers who want to stack a single main stat to the moon. It gives you a huge bonus to one main stat, but lowers your other main stats in exchange. It also has a unique defensive layer. If your total main stats
Ну-ка,
stay
буду тоже
below the
мусор.
threshold, you get a flat reduction to incoming elemental damage. It's perfect for specialized builds that don't need to be well-rounded to work. Finally, for the summoners, we have the Iron and Bloom helmet.
Ой, это сразу можно
This unlocks
проматывать для
multi-strike for
суммонеров.
your minions. It gives them a base multi-strike count and ramps up their damage with every hit in the sequence. And if you land the right corrosion, it upgrades the item so that, based on your minion's command or growth, attacks have a chance to bypass the ramp up and instantly deal damage equal to the max multi-strike count. It turns your minions into burst damage machines.
Баланс overhaul.
Next, let's talk about balance. This season isn't just about new content. It's a massive overhaul of the underlying systems. We have revamped 2 hero mechanics, 3 damage systems, tweaked some legendaries, and updated a ton of defensive options. The headline feature this season is a full rework of the
Не,
element
ничего не
system.
играет.
Previously, element builds were restrictive and unclear, so we rebuilt them from the ground up. First, base ailment damage now has a variable range, just like your hit damage. This means stats like chance to inflict ailment are
Тут,
much
кстати,
more
показывают
important.
какой-то...
You need to
Это
balance
МК
three
или
things:
нет? Или это шаклы были?
chance, duration, and hit count. Change number 2. Ailment stacks have been standardized to improve clarity and game performance. Wilt is now capped at 50 stacks. Trauma is fixed at 1 stack. Ignite now starts at 1 stack and can scale up to 4 through progression and items. To help you
Билд,
hit
конечно,
these caps
интересно.
with buff-specific legendaries, take the helmet's Sun's Embrace. It gives +1 to your Ignite limit and adds extra stacks. This
Не,
is
ну
now
может им
best in
просто
slot
бейс
for breaking
огромный
that fire
добавили.
damage ceiling.
Чтобы
Then look at the
Right.
glove's Chaos Abyss. When enemies are affected by less than 50 wield stacks, it doubles your duration. This makes it way easier for slower skills to maintain maximum stacks. Change number 3. Gear affixes. We've simplified how you get damage on gear. You will now see explicit affixes like adds-based trauma damage. This decouples ailments from skill multipliers, making the math
вон вам
way
хоть
cleaner. We also moved these mods to lower
огромный
weapons,
бейс
so
дэмэдж
it's
дали,
much cheaper
которого
to
не
craft
было
your starter
нигде.
weapons. Change number 4. The endgame shift. Here is the biggest change to build crafting. Conversion. New legendary affixes will allow you to convert a percentage of your added flat damage into base ailment damage.
А, ну вон
For
что
example,
ёбнуться
look
вообще.
at the Evil Heart armor. It converts your raw flat damage into ailment damage. This opens up huge build diversity. You can now play an armor stacker,
Огромное
life stacker, or an attribute stacker, and use
количество
that raw
урона.
power to scale a dot build. You aren't forced to use specific dot skills anymore. If you can stack flat damage, you can play ailments. The goal is smoother early game progression while also allowing for much more build freedom in the endgame. Next, let's look
Ну,
at how
типа,
we overhauled
те, кто там
explosion
переживал
mechanics
по поводу
to
того,
make
что
them
деда
consistent
зря
across all
крутили,
builds.
можно не
Previously,
переживать. Дед
explosion
все еще
damage
будет
scaled
супер
with
играбельным.
characters' damage stats.
Бля, как
This
МК
created
хуёво
a large
выглядит.
gap where, some builds could wipe entire screens instantly while others barely felt the effect. In the VORAX season, explosions now deal fixed true damage. This damage does not scale with your damage modifiers. Your damage and additional damage stats no longer affect explosion damage. As a result, explosions shift from a scaling damage
Это
source to a
эксплоуды
pure
особо
utility tool,
никто и не
creating a
юзал.
more level
Будто
playing field
похуй
across
плюс
builds.
похуй.
We also took a look at the freeze and frostbite mechanics. In previous seasons, frostbite and freeze were, kind of messy. The math behind application rate and duration was overly complex. It felt less like a unique mechanic and more like just another generic damage boost. For VORAX, we completely rebuilt freeze. First, simplified progression. We deleted the clutter. Stats like frostbite rating inflicted, frostbite rating per second, and freeze duration are gone. Instead, frostbite rating is now a simple bar on the enemy. The base cap is 10 points. You can upgrade this cap through gear and passives up to 100 points. Damage
В 10 раз
here is
увеличивать.
why you want that number high. Every point of frostbite rating increases the cold damage the monster takes. It's a direct damage multiplier. The higher the bar, the harder you hit. When frostbite rating hits 100, the monster freezes. Now, this works differently than before. Instead of completely immobilizing the target, which usually causes issues with boss phases, the new freeze seals their actions periodically. Think of it as a massive stutter or interruption effect. It keeps the enemy locked down enough to be safe, while still ensuring the fight mechanics can still play out properly. Naturally, with the freeze system getting a
У тебя
total
сейчас усиленный
overhaul,
дип
we
будет,
had to
так что,
update
в
Gemma
принципе,
2,
сомнительно,
aka
что ты за 3
Frostbite
дня до него
Unlocked.
дойдешь.
She takes a new system beyond its limits. While most characters are capped at 100 frostbite rating, Gemma can exceed it. Any frostbite rating over 100 is converted into a new effect called Glacial Night, a powerful debuff that further increases cold damage taken and heavily slows enemy movement, attack, and cast speed. This cements her role as a premier crowd control damage dealer. We've also adjusted her signature Cold Pulse. Its release frequency is now adjustable, letting you tune it for fast clearing with rapid pulses, or slower, heavier pulses for sustained buffs
Вот именно
during
этот
boss
Night,
fights.
типа,
Space-time
ничего
elapse
интересного.
yoga is also getting a massive rework. We heard the feedback. It kind of felt slow, fragile, and his damage ramp up didn't match the pace of the game. This update brings him up to speed. First, we improved the actual feel of his signature skill, Twisted Space-Time, and increased the area by 30%. We also cut the activation interval in half, from 4 seconds down to 2 seconds. This makes the damage feel much snappier. Crucially, we expanded what Twisted Space-Time can record. It now records damage over time, reaping damage, and reap purification damage. This is a game changer for build variety. You aren't locked into hit-based builds anymore. You can run full dot or reap setups and still get the massive multipliers Yoga is famous for.
Как будто Юга ебанутый тоже, если он теперь записывает весь дамаг туда. С новыми элементами.
When you deal damage over time, you now gain stacks of torment. Each stack of torment additionally increases damage over time dealt. While Twisted Space-Time is active, you gain additional damage reduction. Overall, Yoga is faster, tankier, and far more flexible than ever before. We've also updated several current existing skills to better fit the current meta. First up, Ring of Blades received a major scaling pass. Its damage bonus now scales directly with your channeling stacks limit.
Тот же самый дамаг, разгон, как у МК был.
Its exclusive supports were also reworked. Blade formation now scales directly with your projectile quantity. If you stack additional projectiles, you increase the density of the blade spinning around you. It turns the skill into a monster for map clearing. Razor Edge now uses your channeling stacks to scale projectile speed. Higher speed means the blades spin further out, drastically increasing your effective area of effect. Scorching Beam was adjusted to address long-range damage falloff. The explosion radius at maximum stacks has been increased from 3 meters to 5 meters.
Магниты из X-менов на максималках.
Overlap explosions on a single target. To support this change, we redesigned its support skill, Disintegrate. It now ties directly into the reworked ailment system. The damage scales based on the number of ignite stacks on the target.
Циклоп,
We've already shown how evil
Прошу
heart
прощения.
armor and chaos abyss are reshaping the ailment meta. But one more classic is getting a major update: Broken Sun Ring. This ring has been reworked to support steep strike, shadow strike, and demolisher builds. Its new core mechanic solar ring treats enemies as if they are closer than they actually are, letting you benefit from close range damage bonuses while staying at a safer distance.
Кстати,
To push it further with corrosion,
по
you
дамаге его,
have
по-моему,
ammonia.
сильно порезали.
This causes all enemies inside the ring to be treated as within 3 meters of you, which pairs extremely well with Erika's new trait. Less soft
Типа,
defense and survivability.
он только с
There's been a
дабл-караптом и
gap
только
between
для Эрики.
archetypes. Attack builds that can stack armor
Как будто
and
да.
war cries feel extremely tanky, while magic builds often struggle to survive,
О,
especially in
давайте,
the end.
это нам надо.
This update is closing the gap. We've increased the caps on affixes that convert physical and erosion damage into
Пизду
element
засуньте свой
damage.
конверт.
This is major for spellcasters,
Да, ТЛДБ обновили.
energy shield builds. Instead of forcing armor into builds that don't support it, you can now redirect incoming damage into elemental resistances, which are much easier to cap. We've also addressed energy shield's biggest weakness, damage over time. A new ultimate affix has been added to intelligence-based armor. If your energy shield exceeds
Спасибо за фоллоу,
8,000, you can
Хабарик.
gain additional damage over time mitigation. With enough investment, energy shield builds can now counter dot damage. Next up, defensive talents on belts. We're making it cheaper to build up your defenses. In the past, getting top tier defensive talents like full defense, panacea, or master escapist meant buying expensive, double rolled divinity slates. Now you can get these talents on your belt through the blending system. This frees up your divinity slates for offensive stats.
Ну,
and lowers the
единственное,
budget
что никто
to get your
дефенс статы не
survivability
мажет
up and
на
running.
пояса, но тем не менее.
That covers the changes to builds and existing systems. Now let's talk about where you're actually gonna use them. The Supreme Showdown is getting a brand new boss. Floor
ну,
20 introduces a
Анонс
brand new
это на
Supreme
ХХ
boss,
тоже
the
можешь.
All-Seeing Prophet.
Бля, какая
Lore-wise,
крутая.
he has gathered eyes
Бля,
from across
какая
the realm
крутая
to
арена.
see everything at once, trapping himself
Охуенно.
in paradox. Mechanically, the fight is all about eye management. The white eyes are your power source. Collect them to gain strength.
Бля,
The dark
круто.
eyes are death zones. Avoid them at all costs. This
Ну, охуенно
encounter
же.
is going to be testing positioning, awareness, and reaction speed. Floor 21 brings a familiar nightmare back to the top of the Supreme Showdown. Night Slayer, the Wilting Plume, returns from the land of the dead.
Мне вот нравятся вот
Fully
эти
buffed
6Т,
and upgraded,
они подняли
ready to
коптычки или
stand
чё?
check the strongest builds in the game. The Supreme Showdown mechanics have also rotated, with energy
Это
bombs
интересное
and damage.
значение.
Holding the bomb provides a major damage boost. But
Ну, это,
remember
кстати,
to throw them
круто.
at the boss before they detonate. Next up, the Overwhelm is going core. Along with it, we are introducing new tools to make the Overwhelm smoother, faster,
Да бомба
and more
нормальная.
profitable. First, new exclusive compasses to customize your realm. If you want to reduce time spent in the Overwhelm and are confident in the strength of your build, you might want to try the Control Overwhelm Compass. It spawns more
Хуя
monsters
себе,
carrying
полотенца
portal shadow,
дополнительные
but
будут. Ну,
removes
типа, за
the
каждый
reverse clock.
этаж
The
будет
containment
шанс на
overwhelm
то, что
compass
будут
addresses
появляться
the frustration
новые
of
эти.
getting stuck on a floor. This compass
Оба.
gives you a chance to drop a compulsory containment key, which can be used to force open the door to the next level. We've also added a dedicated NetherRealm talent tree for Overrealm. You can now customize exactly what you want to farm. You can toggle talents to show special objects, such as a floating skull, anti-mimetic cage, and gatekeeper on your minimap.
Блять, ну зачем только столько поинтов? Не, ну я как бы про фаун чисто оверилм буду бегать. Он слишком охуенный будет. 7 шанс на то, что на каждом левеле будет туркипер появляться. А, ну, по Bottled Shadow нельзя. Такое тебе. С учетом того, что у тебя есть компас на 50% к появлению.
Combined with the talent that grants the Doorkeeper a chance to summon the Door Hunter upon revival, it ensures that the Door Hunter is no longer just a beautiful legend. Additionally, you can utilize NetherRealm talents to manipulate overrealm disturbances, block specific unwanted ones, and simultaneously increase the probability of other overrealm disturbances appearing. Next up, ethereal prisms.
Не,
After
классно, да.
watching how players have been using
Мне
them,
очень
the
нравится.
testing phase is officially over. Ethereal prisms are graduating from experimental and becoming a permanent system. We're not just keeping them though.
По
we're
поводу
refining them.
бетов все в
First,
видосе.
we've overhauled the crafting rules. Prisms no longer have a fixed influence shape. Now, the first craft affix allows you to customize the shape and area of influence, letting you slot that prism exactly where you need it. We also heard your feedback about the risks of crafting. We've added a new option to the third affix slot. Do not replace original core talent. This is a huge quality of life change that lets you craft aggressively without worrying about accidentally overwriting the key talent that defines your build. For players who want consistency over risk, we're adding the ethereal prism.
Да, будет все
Phantasmagoria.
пересказано все.
This version never modifies core talents and instead purely enhances crafted affix effects, making it the most reliable way to scale passive power. We've also expanded the core talent pool to open up some wild new build possibilities. For the summoners out there, look at Commander's Gambit. This grants your minions unprecedented power. Now, when you receive a blessing, your minions get it too, simultaneously. And the best part, their limit is double.
Да, про пати кайф.
For evasion-based players, we've reworked adaptive defense. It now provides injury buffer and deflection. This gives evasion builds a much-needed backbone, significantly reducing the risk of getting one-shot by a stray projectile. We've added brand new talents to the mix
%%
too.
инжури баффера.
Fury
Нормально.
Fantasy converts excess ailment chance over the cap into additional ailment damage, synergizing directly with the new ailment system. And for the melee lovers, Storm's command scales melee damage based on the number of unique Warcry effects active, rewarding aggressive, high-volume setups. Finally, let's take a
В смысле,
look
70
at
мора
inverse
просто?
images. Inverse images now roll with
За
one
два
carefully
Warcry.
tempered affixes. Only temper affixes have variable ranges, while all other stats are fixed, making perfect rolls rare and
Там
extremely
что-то, да, вообще
valuable.
какая-то хорошая
To
призма.
support this, we've added a new recycling and reforging system that lets you break down low-quality drops for a chance to reroll and upgrade them. We're
Балдеж.
also constantly tuning the endgame experience in the Netherrealm to make your
Ну да,
mapping
там что-то,
sessions
мне кажется, она не
easier
доживет.
and fairer.
Это слишком
For the
нездорово.
VORAX season, we've taken a hard look at resonance affixes that felt too punishing. We know there are certain map mods that can just brick a run or unfairly one-shot you,
ББ,
so
бомжара.
we've dialed back on the difficulty. For example, the affix that grants enemies additional damage against players at low life or low mana. Previously, this ramped up enemy damage by a massive 58%, which was often a death sentence.
Я думаю, это вопрос
We have
привычки.
slashed that value
По
down
поводу
to
интерфейса.
30%. This is a major improvement for players running low life and low mana builds, lowering the survival threshold in high pressure encounters and giving players more room to react and outplay the content. Now, let's address a major endgame pain point, the damage cap. We know the frustration. After weeks of min-maxing, you push deep space, stack compasses that boost monster health and rewards, and suddenly enemies feel like bullet sponges. When monster HP scales up to ultra high values, you hit a wall. The game's damage cap restricts your output, forcing you into long, dragged out fights. It interrupts the flow and, quite frankly, just doesn't feel good. In the VORAX season, we're making a major quality of life change. In certain content, monster HP will no longer scale to massive levels. Instead, that extra durability is being converted into damage mitigation. Effective toughness is going to be staying the same, but the actual HP is significantly reduced. This means builds that were previously hard capped can now deal more relative damage. For example,
Природная
a
сила.
monster with 50% damage mitigation effectively doubles the damage cap, letting high-end builds push much further. Tanky enemies like the Cube's Malice Judge, Arcana's Emperor, and security units in Outlaw will go down far faster to
Прям
regular
худший шоу-кейс под эту механику.
Pinnacle content like the Cage of Original Sin will still feature massive HP pulls to challenge your absolute DPS ceiling. But for everyday farming, the brick wall is gonna be gone. Now next, let's talk loot, specifically ultimate memories. We want every ultimate drop to feel like a win. In the VORAX season, ultimate memories are receiving a major buff across the board, and will now be guaranteed to roll at least one tier 1 fixed affix, raising the baseline
Типа, что всегда
and
ты один
ensuring a
какой-то
high tier
будет
foundation
вместо
from the start.
мусора
If a drop still
фиолетового.
doesn't have great rolls, it won't be a complete dud because recycling returns have been increased tenfold.
Нитки будут
Scrapping an
стоить
ultimate memory now yields 20
нихуя.
memory threads instead of 2, giving even unwanted drops real economic value. We've also streamlined the affix pool to make crafting smoother. Base affixes have been optimized to reduce clutter. For example, minion attack speed and minion cast speed have been merged into a single affix.
Ой, и атак спид и просто каст спид тоже один
Making
будет.
it easier for summoners to
Или
find
нет?
premium gear and increase versatility for everyone else. And talking about loot, we've made major improvements to fluorescent memories. Drop tables have been reweighed so that high-value memories appear far more often. Expect to drop more valuable memories this season. We're
В
also
смысле, у тебя
expanding
атак
target
спид и
farming
каст
options
спид
for
разные
some
мемори.
of the rarest items in the game. 2 new memories, Exile Destiny and Calamity's Devotion, can now be collected and exchanged for powerful rewards. Undetermined
Балдеж.
Fate and randomized
Где
priceless
падать,
rings
интересно, будет?
with cursed affixes. These changes give you
Курсой
more control
кольцо.
over your grind
Бля.
and more ways to chase build-defining gear. Now, speaking of priceless rings, we know the emotional roller coaster. You hear the drop, you get really excited, and then you look at it and it's the wrong base. In VORAX, we're fixing that. The God of Machines talent constellation has been updated with a new ring type filter talent.
No longer contains spirit rings. Блять, наконец-то, нахуй.
Allowing you to
Спасибо за
target
follow.
the exact base you need. We've
Термин
also added a
тайпа.
nearby talent that increases the base drop rate of priceless gear. Together, these changes solidify the God of Machines as a top-tier option for high-end gear farming. Now, this
Машины,
approach
может,
is
опять
not
нормальные
limited to a
будут.
single system. Similar improvements have been applied across many classic game modes. Let's jump over to God of Might. We've completely reworked the Ember Drop system here. The talent constellation now lets you target farm-specific Ember types based on their stage of progression. Early in the season, you can spec into nodes that prioritize precious and matchless embers, speeding up early crafting and getting builds online faster. Once your build can handle the heat, you can respec to increase difficulty and focus on ultimate embers, with a significantly higher drop rate than before. If you're chasing the best crafting materials in the game, God of Might is now the go-to destination. Now let's talk about the Destiny system. We heard the feedback. Since launch, popular kismets have stayed extremely expensive, often locking build-defining options behind prices that most
И вот
players
эта
can't
фраза,
reasonably
типа, мы
afford.
послушали фидбэк,
To
всегда
address
так
the supply
радует.
issue, VORAX introduces a new direct compass drop source. Completing tarot trials in the Netherrealm now has a chance to drop Arcana compasses directly. More compasses in circulation means more kismet farming and an increased supply overall. The goal is to bring
Self-sustain
trade-off
Arcana.
and to make finishing your build far more achievable without requiring excessive currency. But we didn't stop at just the big seasonal.
Ну, только никто не
We
фармит
note
с
that
синими
generally,
компасами.
utility compasses often see wild price spikes or variations in the trade house, causing some serious supply and demand issues. To smooth this out, we've added a new series of drop-oriented talents specifically for these compasses within the compass talent constellation. By speccing into these nodes, you can ensure a steady supply of these essentials. This should keep the market stable and ensure you always have the juice you need to run your maps efficiently. We've also optimized the compass recycling system. Recycling a compass now grants tokens of varying rarities, which can be exchanged for new compasses. This same system has been
Блин, ну
applied
это
to frozen
круто.
canvas. We've seen a large market
Потому что
imbalance.
куча мусорных
Meta
компасов, даже
support
золотых
skills are
было.
extremely
Теперь
expensive,
можно хоть
and
гэмблить.
off-meta ones are you know, practically worthless. It feels really bad to drop a high-tier item that has no value, you know, simply because it isn't popular at the time. To address this, we're introducing an exclusive support skill recycle system. Unwanted support skills can now be scrapped into concepts, with higher tier skills yielding more concepts. These can then be exchanged at the trader for a random exclusive support.
Бля, ну 10 за одну это как-то не очень дешево. Никак не очень дешево.
Let's talk about your league style.
Типа 10 помойных саппортов на один помойный саппорт поменять.
Especially from the God's chest from the profound talent constellation. And found rewards weren't living up to the expectations.
Во-во, вот такой геймплей на МК сейчас. 5 минут на пачку белую.
Making it feel more worthwhile.
Туда.
Is survivability. We know early game builds can be a little squishy. In the past, if you died, you lost your accumulated stacks. It was really punishing. Now, in the VORAX season, dying no longer clears your accumulated stacks. You keep your progress, making the early game smoother, more forgiving, and far more convenient. We're also continuing to refresh classic mechanics with new twists in VORAX.
Да, это МК.
The cube gets a new fortuitous cube compass, slotting it as mini cubes to your maps. Interacting with them triggers instant encounters that can drop desired crystals, spawn elite packs, or reveal the new special boss, the Cube Goblin, with rewards worth chasing. Dark Surge is also getting a meaningful update.
Был смешной теперь
New
будет.
talents in the
Кубики
Dark Surge
собирать.
constellation allow rare monsters from other mechanics to grant Dark Surge energy. This lets you layer Dark Surge alongside other systems, adding more
Ну, это прикольно, что
flexibility
синергия с
and
другими
building your
механиками
strategy.
теперь, что они будут
Next up,
давать
Sandlord.
заряды.
We heard
Вот,
the
Сэндлорд.
Random raid events were
Sandlord.
triggering too frequently, breaking the flow of NetherRealm runs, and you know the rewards often didn't really, you know, justify the interruption.
А еще они
This
нихуя не
season, the frequency
дропали.
of the raid events has been significantly reduced, while the rewards for each event have been greatly increased. You'll encounter them less often, but when they do
Вау!
appear, the payoff will be worth stopping for. For endgame players pushing deep space,
Пизда.
turning the difficulty up. A new NetherRealm resonance, the Deep Space resonance, is now available. You can toggle it on before entering a stage. This mode
Если их
converts
много, они, значит, просто ничего
modifiers
стоить не будут.
into 9 high difficulty red mods. It's brutal, but the payoff matches the risk. Clear the stage and you'll earn a massive drop quantity bonus, making it one of the most rewarding farming options available. To support this playstyle, we've also updated the NetherRealm talent constellation. You can now invest directly into nodes that enable targeted, deep space resonance farming, keeping a steady supply of fuel as you push your build to its limits. To add more depth to deep space, we're introducing 4 new probes: Mechanical, Titan, Dull, and Bounty. Using these in deep space maps gives you a chance to spawn powerful enemies. Defeating these enemies doesn't just reward loot, it can unlock additional gameplay. For example, killing a Might Goblin can open a new God of Might trial directly inside your current map, effectively creating a map within a map. These probes drop exclusively from the Cage of Original Sin, giving Pinnacle content another valuable reward to chase. That just about wraps up the system updates.
А это, кстати, не то, что я говорил, что типа несколько лик-мех одинаковых, чтобы на мапе спавнилось.
Expanded classic mechanics, deeper deep space gameplay, and new recycling and exchange options. This season
Так, два
offers
пацана,
more and more
нажмите
ways than
follow,
ever
что
to
3500
earn
было.
rewards and build power. But behind all
Надо,
the flashy
надо.
updates, there's that critical infrastructure that keeps everything running. For VORAX, we've
От души,
upgraded many
мужики.
core
Спасибо,
systems to remove
Сатропус
friction
Фейнерс.
from your grind.
Quality of life. Да.
First, UI. Remember those concept designs we showed you during TorchCon? They're finally here. This is the first phase of our UI overhaul. We've given a fresh coat of paint to the systems you use every single day.
Бля.
The main interface,
Ну это красиво,
the
чё
trade
вы.
house,
Аниме.
inventory, the NetherRealm, and the skill system. Everything looks cleaner, sharper, and more
Бля,
modern.
ну...
We've even refined every gear icon, so when a legendary drops, it actually looks
Гир-иконки,
legendary.
конечно,
Now we know UI
вопрос.
changes can disrupt muscle memory, so layouts and interactions remain exactly where you expect them. They may look a little bit different, but nothing should feel unfamiliar.
Я думаю, народ
And
будет
it's not
ныть
just the
нахуй.
UI getting a glow up. We've revamped the default models for
Бля,
Karina,
Карина мощный.
Gemma, and Rayhan. These legends
Бля, Рехан
are the heart
стрёмный.
of Torchlight, and they deserve to look the part. And it's not just the
Я
hero.
думаю, они
We've
оставят
redesigned a
возможность.
massive number of monster models and overhauled combat effects. We want the visual feedback to be spectacular. When you cast a spell or land a crit, we want you to feel the impact. The battlefield is going to look more chaotic, more beautiful, and more visceral than ever before. If you're playing on PC, there's a new setting you should definitely check out. Global lighting.
Не, Карины
Turn
никаких
this
реворков
on,
нет.
and the game feels totally different.
Я что-то
Skill effects,
вообще разницы
pet
не вижу.
spirits, and even
Я-
loot beams dynamically light
пошарай.
the environment in real time, giving
Типа,
combat
да,
a
вот
completely
как будто
different
две
feel.
одинаковые эти картинки
Now, what you're
показывают.
seeing this season is just the very first step of our graphics overhaul, which will likely need several seasons to be fully implemented. We decided instead of holding back for one single massive update, we would rather deliver improvements incrementally season by season. So, after launch, we're going to be listening very closely to your feedback. This right now is just a foundation, and we're going to keep building upon it until we deliver the best visual experience possible. Now, on the technical side, we've also been hard at work optimizing core gameplay systems, starting with collision. We've read your
Застревать
feedback and
меньше
know how
будешь.
frustrating it feels when the engine works against you. Camera jitter and character shaking near map edges have largely been resolved.
Покажите, как
We
на...
also fixed
Да,
some
вот.
sluggishness you might have noticed when using mobility
Но она все
skills
равно
versus
застревает,
walls.
как они
No
показали.
more invisible geometry. Just move fluid movement, so you can focus on
Но
fighting
вот в
monsters
начале,
without
когда она
distracting.
ну,
Now, we're
прыгала,
not just
она
refining
все равно
physics in the
застряла.
game engine. We're refining the soul of the game. Heroes should feel like true companions, so we significantly expanded voice lines and added new
Войслайны.
dynamic triggers.
Блин, надо будет хоть звук выкрутить.
Leading the charge is Cat-Eye Erica and her new Vendetta Sting trait.
Опять безногая,
Between
босая
maps,
бомжара.
she may share stories like the Bloody Odyssey Night, revealing how this legendary assassin made the nobles of the Midlands tremble.
We're not fighting some villain. We are fighting an empire.
But it's not just lore. The game now reacts to your actions. Complete key achievements and she'll respond, sometimes with a rare smile, sometimes sharing your frustration, adding a new layer of personality to your journey.
Не, ну без трусов это
This
нормально.
is worth more than Arminius's head.
Трейд базарить
We
будет.
wait in the shadows for the dawn.
For mouse and keyboard players, especially on ranged builds, we know the wrist strain is real. To help, we've implemented a new auto-aim feature.
Блин, вот это крутая, то что аутоаим на ближайший таргет теперь физический. Это вообще, конечно.
Interface now clearly highlights any skills or supports you don't own, making it easier to understand why your build is missing. And that covers our major quality of life optimizations this season. We want TLI to feel better to play every day. We'll keep listening to your feedback and fixing.
Ой, им сейчас вообще все засрут по поводу
Because
нового
at the end of the day,
интерфейса и
we
прочее.
really just want this to be the smoothest and most fun ARPG experience you can play.
Да, братаны, у вас уже most fun. Не переживайте.
Next up, our new events. To celebrate the new year and
Вау,
as a thank you
крылья
for your
дадут.
support, we've prepared a massive amounts of events with respective rewards. The Dancing Dragon Festival includes a series of events, ranging from check-in to
Да,
objective-based
автоим
events.
как на этом.
The rewards here are stacked. A legendary Battle Pack Spirit Selection Pack.
Активатор для
10 Battle
атакеров
Pack Spirit
на
Drops.
месте.
The Activation Medium Motionless. A massive stack of tax vouchers for the trade house. And some truly
Мэссив,
exquisite
120.
back accessories.
Спасибо.
Oh, and don't forget, the first stop up double bonus has been reset. For every
Мэссив,
tier, the first
120.
stop up grants double primos. The VORAX season also offers a separate series of objective-based events.
Ну, там,
for you
кстати,
to
сейчас
complete.
за выполнение
Complete
всей
these
херни,
missions
которая
with a
будет
total of
40
30
круток
legendary
боевых.
battle pack
В принципе,
spirit drops.
звучит
On top
нихуево.
of these, you're also looking at rare season drop pack spirits, rare pack spirit upgrade emblems, exclusive weapon appearances, and more.
За весь сезон типа набирается 40 круток дополнительных. Вроде норм.
Defeat plane watchers on plane 6 within profound time arc 8 to earn conquest insignias. Collect enough insignias to exchange for General Red Skill signature weapon, conquering this season.
О, ванхенд красивый.
Challenges. Oh, and speaking of conquering
Ну ладно,
challenges,
нормально.
let's talk about the hardcore server.
Новый,
If you prefer
20-й.
the stress of having only one life, mark your calendars for February 12th. This 4-week period gives you enough time
Эрика
to
3
learn the
хоть через
mechanics
что.
on the main server before you risk it all. At launch,
Какие
we're going to be
подводные?
hosting an exclusive leaderboard event.
Да
Reach the
хз.
top to earn the hardcore server
Но это не
exclusive
тотемы,
honor
это
portion.
больше эти
Ultimate Badge of Survival.
бренды.
Next up, Pack Spirits. Intern Shelly. She's
Бля,
a drop pack
у
spirit.
девочки в двери как
She likes
будто
to refresh
появилась
surgical
конкурентка.
instruments to fish for high-tier mods, and
По
gives you a chance to
дрочибельности.
double your antidote vial rewards. Kitty Express. Perfect companion for Vendetta Sting.
Блять, какой
She grants
ублюдочный.
massive attack damage and the attack aggression effects. Finally, let's take a look at all the new cosmetics, including this season's new gender bender skin.
Это что, это кошка?
Erika is getting the Glitch Walker skin, a full cybernetic overhaul. It comes with a hero outfit, a weapon skin,
Бля,
custom
ну,
body effect, and
это
a stunning
плохая.
new visual for her
Прям
Vendetta
откровенно.
skin trait.
А вот это хорошее. Это мы играем.
Next up, Yoga gets a legendary transformation skin.
А, это получается у тебя 3 телки на экране будет бегать.
Drawing
Все,
from the
короче,
legend of
регаем Югу.
Narcissus, she is captivated by her own reflection.
Не, ну
Summoning
тут как бы
duplicates
это...
to fight alongside her in the frigid tides of
Это
mistakes.
получается 3
This
телки
includes a
будет на экране.
transformation appearance, a
Фу-фу-фу.
new chain lightning skin, and an exclusive portrait. We also have a new back accessory called harmonic rotation.
Ебать.
This
Вот
isn't
это
just a static
аниме
bar.
вообще.
As you kill enemies, it actually reacts, collecting light and switching between the solar and lunar
Бля,
form.
какая пизда глазам,
And
конечно.
finally, why should your hero be the only one who gets a new look? We're releasing a new cosmetic for the God of Might called Mountain Cleaving Force. When you equip
Но
this,
это вообще
the
какая-то хуйня
entire appearance of the
бесполезная.
trial changes. Experience the mechanic in a whole new light.
Ну вот на самом деле оба Юги как
From
будто
the all-new
ебанутыми будут.
VORAX mechanic, Erika's new trait, to grafting a mountain of quality of life updates and our brand new UI. This season is gonna be absolutely packed. Now VORAX is right around the corner, coming January 15, and the team really pulled out all the stops for this one. We hope you'll enjoy it, and we can't wait to see you all on launch day. That's all for today, and we'll catch you all on the next one.
Так, ну этот у нас есть. Дропы нам не дали, да? Или дали? Двести прима кристаллов сюда. Так. Ну, я на самом деле видел какие-то утечки до этого уже.
A brand new
Они еще повторно её запустили, да. Они повторно запустили, кто, типа, за мой не давали, можете посмотреть еще раз. Ну, типа, там на второй монитор вывести. Так. Выглядит как будто вообще супер круто. Единственное, что теперь дождаться... Так, кстати, еще надо опустить это.